So I just watched Prey, the latest in the Predator series, and it was pretty good. This will be a spoiler-free review, so by all means watch this video, see what you think, and give the movie a try if you're interested. Initially, when I first heard about this movie, I was genuinely pretty excited, just because it looked drastically different to any Predator movie that has come before it. Even the title is distancing itself from the series a little bit, which I love. However, a bit later after this film's announcement, I heard some recent chatter regarding the recent copyright dispute regarding the Predator series. This slightly shifted my expectations as I realized this film could just be a quick cash grab before Disney lost the IP. However, I am pleased to report that this is not the case. The film actually does stand on its own and exceeded my expectations, which is really great. And as far as I can tell, the recent copyright dispute has been resolved to some extent, and it seems Disney will continue to retain the IP for the series. I didn't look too deeply into it, so I could be wrong. Regardless of the expectations, what was the movie actually like? Well, I can tell you that this film is the best the series has produced in a long time. Unlike other similar franchises that have plenty of solid movies under their name, I can't really say the same for the Predator series up until this point. It always felt as if its sequels never really understood what was great about the original Predator. The original Predator was so good because you were solving the mystery about this, alien creature along with the characters of the film. Which means that after the original film, when the monster is revealed and we know their strategies, there isn't really much tension, because we know what to expect. And it doesn't help that the sequels never really even try to build tension that often. They kind of just show the Predator as if he's just another human guy going about his business. But this film doesn't suffer from those issues. Setting it in the 1700s with an all-Native American cast of characters is brilliant for world building and creating a natural underdog story. Because this is a more primitive time with more primitive technology, despite the fact that most viewers know the Predator and his methods of hunting, we still feel tension for these characters because we genuinely don't know how they're going to deal with it. Unlike most other Predator sequels which just have these militia badass gun blazers shooting their way through everything. Now, the film won't blow you away or anything, it's not Citizen Kane. The story is admittedly very simple and even quite predictable at times, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Again, comparing it to the wider Predator franchise, this movie's a friggin' masterpiece. But alone, as a regular blockbuster flick, it's just pretty good. The characters are great, the performances are great, especially considering this isn't a stacked cast or anything. I don't see a single recognizable actor in this, but they all did a great job. The film also just looks really good, like some shots are just absolutely stunning. But in saying that, there are a few too many dark sequences for my liking. I don't know if it was just the tiny television screen that I watched it on, but in some of the nighttime scenes, I admit I struggled to see some of the action, and some of the VFX in this film looks butt-ass. Namely most of the animals and blood. But I don't really blame the film for this, because it was probably just due to budgetary constraints, being a direct-to-streaming film and everything. And I know how strained the VFX industry is at this point. CG artists are being stretched as thin as possible. So I don't really see that as a genuine criticism of the film, but it did sadly take me out of it every now and then. Speaking of jarring, something I noticed is that for some reason, every character is speaking in this crude American accent that is clearly very modern, despite all being Native Americans in the 1700s.
Looking for you. Your brother sent us to bring you home.
I saw what left those tracks.
The bear?
There was a bear, but there was something else, and it was huge.
I'm pretty sure no one talked like this back then, and of all people, especially not the Native Americans. I don't know why they just didn't get vocal coaches to at least attempt some accents, but regardless, I thought I'd mention it. Again, it's not a glaring issue with the film or anything, it's more just funny. Regardless, this film was a bunch of fun and genuinely a good step in the right direction for the Predator series. There were some great metaphors to white colonialism and hunting culture of the West, which became especially apparent to me during the buffalo scene, just drawing some great parallels to real-world history, which I think is really interesting, intriguing, and adds a lot more depth to this film than anything before in the Predator series. I can't think of any other Predator movies in this franchise that, actually have deep and meaningful metaphors within them, except for this one, which is great. I would love to see something like a Predator anthology trilogy or something set in all different time periods. I think that would be really cool, because the more primitive era does wonders for telling a great underdog story. although I think they nailed it setting it from the Native American perspective in the 1700s. It's just the perfect setting for this kind of film. All in all, I definitely give this film a shot. If you're a fan of the series, this one will surprise you. And to anyone else, it's worth giving a shot if you're just bored and looking for something to watch. Action-heavy sort of drama. So I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Hey guys, if you're not subscribed, 97.7% of you aren't, which is honestly kind of hilarious. So let's see if we can bump that number up to a cool and clean 95, shall we? And thank you for watching. I appreciate the support recently. Some of the last few videos are kind of blowing up, which is insanely awesome to see, and I really appreciate it. Just want to say thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.